Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey
Hey,
there,
Doug.
Doug.
Can you guys see me?
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Good. How you been?
Yeah, good. Busy conference, but really good.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to
Yeah.
have you back, my friend. I believe you were hanging out with us just
Um,
as well last year, right?
Mhm.
yep. Yep. Yep.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you for being a part of this thing. We super appreciate all your support and really looking forward to whatever you got cooking up this time. What's on the
Oh,
docket?
yeah. So for this year's conference, I'm doing APT, nation state APT,
Mhm.
threat actors, and analyzing um some of the with the war in Iran, some of the well-known nation state APT actor groups. So yeah.
Very cool. Very relevant. So interested to see more what you're cooking up over there, Doug. Is your
Yeah.
screen ready? Do you feel ready to share your screen and start going through things?
Oh yeah, I can share my screen.
Is there anything that we can help with, or do you need anything from us, or you want to just run with it? Are you ready, kind of to run the show?
Yeah. Can you guys see my screen?
I do see it
Yeah,
well. Excellent.
Cool. Yeah.
cool.
So this is what I got. Anthony took a brief look at it. He thought it was pretty relevant,
Yeah,
pretty good. So
pretty in
I have
depth.
some
You
labs. Yep.
you made a
And then I
small
got
micro
right
course
this.
again. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah.
yeah.
Um. Yeah.
We're gonna
So I
pop out
mean,
then, Doug.
okay.
We'll let you have
Cool.
it.
That works.
Sounds good, man.
Cool. Um. But hey guys, I'm Doug. Of course, require carry VM and provide. Oh yeah. I can share my screen. Yeah, I'm Doug. For those of you guys that don't know, I have been doing cybersecurity for about 15 years, mostly defensive. Last 3, 4 years, I've been doing offensive, scaling up with my offensive side. And then also for the last 4 years, I have been one of 200 people invited to be on the US Blue Team for NATO's annual cybersecurity exercise called Lock Shields. But yeah, nice to meet everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Today I'll be talking about nation state APT groups, specifically the pro Iranian groups, because of the war in Iran. We've been seeing a lot of threat actor groups popping up. I think it was 45 now identified pro Iranian groups. Some of them actually, and this is why I wanted to do this talk, is we see a resurgence of some of the well-known threat actor groups. So specifically Muddy Waters and Sandstorm. So we're seeing some of those, but Muddy Water has started developing and adapting or modifying their toolkits to go ahead and implement faster, more successful um, attacks. So yeah, what I am going to start with is the overview. So this is for SOC analysts, threat hunters, detection engineers. Um, like I said, covering the 3 groups: Charming Kitty, Muddy Waters, Sandstorm. Reference materials though. So the evolution. So this is just the backstory into it, and then some of the history going into it. Um, but this is relevant and important because we're seeing a lot of these attacks, and it's not going to stop. It's just going to keep escalating, especially with AI being so used by everybody and adapted, especially by APT groups. We're seeing, and then even for last year's report from CrowdStrike, I think they estimated that it was from initial access to actual breach, and believe C2 or lateral movement, CrowdStrike put in the report it took about 25 minutes for the whole process. So it's getting definitely faster, definitely getting more efficient. So we need to go ahead and be on top of it ourselves and be ahead of these active groups if we can. So expanding attack surfaces, cloud migration, OT, IT. Obviously, OT is huge. OT assets, especially now. So if you are in cybersecurity, if you are a threat hunter, SOC analyst, OT, and you have OT experience, that's good. That's golden. Because there's not a lot of people that have a lot of OT experience or experts in that field. So, the analysts that do have a lot of experience in OT and IT, and they can be able to pivot, whether you're a defender, a blue teamer, or a red teamer, definitely valued skills and experience. So we have Charming Kitty, credential harvesting campaigns targeting journalists, academics, government officials, APT 35, and then we have just a brief rundown of what each one is. So what is the TTPs, tactics, techniques, procedures? So muddy water, obviously living off the land, tradecraft, they are very nasty. We've seen them in the past, and then they, like I said, they are making a resurgence or have made a resurgence with the war in Iran. Power shells, WMIs. They also created a ghost backdoor net, I think they called it. But it's a multi-stage payload, basically a multi-stage malware kit that they just basically explode it, and it just runs through PowerShell scripts, and then it's nasty. So I can drop that if it's not in here as well. And then obviously we have some labs that you guys can go ahead and do on your own time. Yeah, solar winds. So solar winds, obviously everybody's familiar with. Also one of the recent victims of the war in Iran and all of these nation state threat actor groups has been Stryker, obviously, by the Handala group. The Handala group, they use Stryker as a example. They went in there and once they got initial access, they were able to just destroy everything. So they started wiping. They wiped backups. They wiped devices. It was nasty. They went in there with the intent of making them an example. So obviously, as we're going through this, you want to start mapping the threat actor groups. Honestly, just rule of thumb: any attack, any malware you see, or active threat actor group or active threat, you want to go ahead and start mapping it to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. If you don't know what that is, the link's in here, but I can also drop in the chat if you want. But MITRE ATT&CK framework is going to give you that process of how the methodology of how an attacker attacks. The stages they go through during an incident or breach. So initial access, you have weaponization, deployment, etc. So I believe it's 13 stages. So, yep. So the TTPs that we've seen from these groups have been primarily role bin categories abuse. So role bin abuse, that's very common with a lot of the threat actor groups. Honestly, it's effective for a reason. It's the simple attacks that we see time and time again that these companies and these targets are being victims of, whether it's unpatched systems, whether it's open ports or ports being used for multiple connections, whether it's overseas or whether it's cross-site connections that they're just leaving themselves open, and it's not properly secured, or lack of MFA, especially on OT assets. That is huge. So I have experience in the OT space, and I know from my experience and where I worked that you need to have a segmentation, obviously, of OT and IT assets, but you need to understand that sometimes OT machines like HMIs, human machine interfaces, PLCs, anything involving specific software or machines in manufacturing or mills, for example, they need to be able to talk to another site sometimes, or talk to a admin user's work machine, so they can push updates, PowerShell scripts, etc. So if you're doing that, you definitely want to create more security layers and barriers, i.e. you want to create a jump network. So you want to create a jump box, jump network. If you're going from like network to network, and then it's going out of one site to another site, you want to have multiple jump boxes or multiple jump networks. Create as much layers and segmentation as possible, because if there is a breach, or if a threat actor knows exactly what they're doing, whether it's a group, more than likely it's going to be a group. A lot of threat actors don't work alone. It's always like a network. But if they are, if they take advantage of your vulnerability or lack of security layers, then you want to try and mitigate the fire as much as possible and try to contain it to one area, one site. So that way, worst case scenario, you just shut it down. You just close it all down. And then you can just control that fire, kill the connections, and then worst case scenario, just wipe everything. So sorry, went off on a little tangent, but the low bins is living off the land binary abuse. So we see that a lot. Scripting engines, remote management, screen connects, AnyDesk. Also now we've been seeing a lot. I work with obviously a lot of government personnel as well when I do the NATO exercise. But I also work in the public sector. A lot of the big corporations and stuff. But yeah, I have seen a lot of the Teams calls. So having a lot of random Teams calls from people that are claiming they are IT admins, for instance. So that is huge. We see a lot of that increasing as well. So you'll get random Teams calls from people claiming they are, the IT admin. They're trying to push updates, etc. And it's usually targeting people that are non-technical, obviously. So the accounts payable, secretaries, people that are not IT, non-IT personnel, try to take advantage, and then they get that that access to the machine, and then they run the scripts. So credential tools, so run DLLs, run once. So you'll see run once registry executables. This is all manipulating the registry, all trying to go ahead and cause changes, or to go ahead and wipe something, whether it's disable the firewall, or disable, more than likely it's the EDR. They're trying to go ahead, from my, if I were a bad guy, the first thing I would try to do once I have access to somebody's machine would be to go ahead and disable the EDR, and any of the security tool detections. So that way I can go ahead and start quietly living off the land. Cool. And then, so you have a KQL right here, place it util, for wall bins, right here, detecting wall bin abuse in KQL. And then KQL you can use in, you can use it in any security tools. You can use it in any security tools, and then from there, you can even implement it in SPL. So, make sense? You guys good? So, everybody good so far? Yep. Okay, good. Nice. All right. I will. Yep. Sorry, background. I'll go ahead and share my screen again. All right. Sorry. There we go. Initial access, persistence techniques. So we have account manipulation, adversary in the middle, session hijacking. So adversary in the middle, attack domains, reverse proxy, evil X, site that bypasses network layers, NTLM relays, and then moderate attack coverage for AITM. So this is the designations for it. So poisoning, session cookie reuse, and then here's the lab. So attack navigator, using the MITRE attack navigator for TTP mapping. Because we want to map out what is the TTPs and mapping out like what is the process of adversary in the middle. Type of text. So have that. Detection engineering. So we have the KQL for that. For AITM, phishing links, the proxy. So we can go ahead and go through that. You can just basically just copy and paste, drop it in. You have inbox forwarding using for BEC enablement, so that's business email compromise. Token replays, we have MFA bypass hunting. Basically grabbing your session tokens and then refreshing it from there. And then that way you maintain persistence. And then MFA fatigue, push sprays. So MFA fatigue, push sprays. So basically just spamming MFA, like, hey, can you go ahead and allow access, and then eventually somebody is at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. is like, oh, fine, whatever, and they hit allow. That's all we need to go ahead and get in for that initial access. Now we've just gotten in, and there you go. So a lot of the threat actor groups that we're seeing will grab whether it's a QR code and then they'll just refresh the tokens, or they'll use MFA and bypass that to go ahead and get that initial access. We have so we'll have NS poisoning using MDE, Sentinel responder, NTLM relay. So KQL hunts. Okay. So we have detection. We see examples of the TPTs, the nation state threat actor groups. We have idea of like what type of attacks they're doing. We have the KQL queries to go ahead and detect for it. Obviously, you want to have this in place in your security tool before something happens, obviously. So you want to do scanning, like whether it's every 30 days, 60, 90, etc. I would also say whenever you're doing proactive threat hunting, also do bloodhound scans. Like know your environment, know who has access to what and who has the shortest path to domain controllers. Because whether it's a pen tester, a good guy, ethical hacker, a bad guy that's a script kiddie that doesn't know what he's doing and is just trying to run random scripts that he found on the dark web, or it's an actual threat, actual nation state APT. They want to, they have a purpose, they have a mission, they have a goal that they want to do. So they're going in there for a reason. Um, but most of the time, they are trying to get access to the assets, so domain controllers. They're trying to go ahead and get root access, root admin access. Um, does does that make sense, guys? Are you guys good? Any questions? Do I need to stop? Nope. Working from home. Well, we get it. No QS questions from chat. Okay, cool. Yeah. Sorry, I'm at a coffee shop. My home was a little bit noisy, but yeah, even here is a little bit noisy. So I apologize for background. Okay. So defensive frameworks. For defensive pillars. So threat intelligence, operationalized IOCs, zero trust, OT, ICS, security. So obviously, as I was talking about before, segmentation, so micro segmentation, whether especially if you're in the OT, ICS sector, making sure that you're separating the mill manufacturing side from the ITSS. So obviously you should have a separation if you do have any OT assets, especially mills, anything that is sensitive computers, because in a lot of these OT organizations, you will see it. It won't be surprising to see, like a Windows XP machine that's being used as a HMI, human machine interface, or something that has OT software on it, whether it's a SCADA system, etc. Um, it's bad. I know it sounds really bad, like, oh my god, Windows XP, so old, so vulnerable, so outdated. But the reason being is because they either don't have the time to shut down the site or those machines, or they don't have the the proper support, whether it's financial support or whether it's support from the executives, meaning that it's not a priority to the executives or to the higher ups sometimes because they don't want to wait and shut down a whole entire plant or a site when it's making 10, $100,000 a day. So if it's producing $100,000 a day and you shut down that plant for that day, you're essentially losing $100,000 in that day. So for them to go ahead and replace all those machines, and they have to have everything ready to go. They have to have all the new laptops or computers up and running, already purchased with all the software, and networking team or cyber team has to just switch over all of the software once you shut down the old ones. So there's a lot that goes into it. So it might be at least one day that you're losing $100,000. It might be 2 days or 3 days. So a lot of companies will wait during holidays, so Christmas, Thanksgiving, etc., to go ahead and do these things. But a threat actor group is not going to wait for the holidays to attack you. A threat could be happening tomorrow, etc. So it's not, then they're not just going to be like, oh, okay, cool, let's wait until they refresh their hardware and the software and get more secure systems in place. Because usually what we see is that threat actor groups, if they're really smart, they're sitting and waiting and they're living off the land. So that means they're already inside the network. They've made initial access somehow, and they are just waiting and being quiet and not trying to make any waves because they don't want to get caught until they have a good understanding of your baseline of your environment, whether it's OT, whether it's financial sector, whether it's government, etc. They need to understand like what is the baseline, what are the habits or the bad patterns that admins do or executives or etc. Like wherever they are, they need to understand like PWD basically. So print working directory, where am I right now at the existing like computer? Once I've gotten access, where do I need to go? And then how can I just get there with the time that I'm trying to accomplish my goal? So it's a lot of like just waiting, sitting, waiting for the right opportunity. But we already know this, so we've seen it a lot. Which formats are most commonly used for data transmission APIs? And then we have critical gap for Iranian APT defense. So SMS, TO2P, base MFAs, Evo Gen X. Yep. So OT ICS sector, kind of went over that. So passive asset discovery, you have Dragos. Dragos is pretty popular. Well, I mean, they've been popular for a while, but Dragos is either sensor-based, agent-based, or non-agent-based. They have the agentless scanning as well, but it's their bread and butter is OT sector. I've set up and deployed Dragos sensors as well. They have cloud platforms, OT Watch, so they have a lot of security systems and things in place to go ahead and specifically help the OT space and a lot of the OT clients. Network segmentation, kind of went over that. So you want to have DMZs, you want to have jump boxes, jump networks, whether it's going, especially if it's going from like one OT mill to another site's mill. So you're crossing sites, but you want to do as much segmentation as possible, so you can control fire. And worst case scenario, you just wipe that thing and then restore it from last backup. Firmware integrities, PLCs, you want to go ahead and make sure that you're doing hardening scripts, staying on top of creating a habit or a pattern of when you guys are going to push firmware updates, when you're going to push patches, updates to the actual systems themselves and the computers themselves. And then OT specific IRs, so playbooks, etc. I've created a couple of playbooks too. I can show you as well. Well, I can. It's similar to the queries anyways, but it's I'll show you. Sorry. Let me stop this for a second. Show you guys a quick playbook I did for fun.
Hey, Doug, I just want to kind of pop on real quick. I saw a good question over there in chat while you're getting the next thing ready. If you want to take a stab at it.
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Over there from Eakin, I think. They dropped in a little bit late.
I can.
Yeah.
Do you know if they get fulfilled themselves or if they use access brokers? Questions like that. Yep. So yeah, good question. It depends on the APTs, but what we've been seeing is a lot of these nation state APT groups, they will get access themselves. So especially with AI and how you do like these deep fake videos and you do phishing, which is voice phishing, or you'll do smishing, which is SMS. Basically saying like, hey, I'm you get a text message from the boss or your CISO, especially if you're in a senior SOC role. It's not uncommon to get a text message from a CISO or from director. So that's common. So they'll hit you up and be like, hey, what is this alert? Help me understand this. Can you do a presentation for this stand-up call that's happening in 2 weeks? So it's very common, but it's effective for a reason, because if you don't think like, oh, this might be a little bit suspicious, like why is my director sending me a message, or you don't follow it up and confirm by calling them or sending them calling them on your work phone or something like that, then that would be real weird. But if it's at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and you have a family and you're tired and you're like, oh, my boss is texting me, okay, well, I'll respond. That's There you go. You just gave them a way in. So to answer your question, a lot of these nation state APT groups, they will go ahead and they will get initial access themselves. And we saw that with Handala. Handala didn't use the access broker. They went in themselves, and they compromised and breached Striker. So Striker, if you guys don't know, huge medical corporation. They were the first, I believe, that I've been researching. They are the first victim to for US for a huge cyber attack of that scale. For the war in Iran, when it kicked off, they were the first ones to just basically be made an example of. Okay, so share my screen. This is something I created. Um, I used a little bit of AI to help, but you want to, even nowadays, if definitely you'll see a lot of content creators, etc. They'll say, do vibe coding, do this. Please don't. Don't do vibe coding unless you know like what oh, the language and what you're doing. The vibe, like using AI to help you with coding or creating threat hunting queries, etc. Um, works because it's helping you create something that would take like hours to create. But you don't want to just be like, I know nothing about threat hunting, let me just go ahead and ask AI to create it for me, and then it's going to make a mistake. Your boss is going to ask you like, hey, what is this? It's not working. And then if you can't, if you're not expert in that field, it's like, but sorry. So yeah, this is a runbook playbook for those of you guys that maybe have not created runbooks playbooks before. Creating like detecting using KQL for detecting AITM adversary in the middle, proxy domains. Basically looking for any adversary that's creating a proxy server. So we see this a lot. If you have red teaming, ethical hacking, pen testing experience, you know exactly how to do this, like from manual, from your own experience, from your own skill sets. But we see a lot of threat actors doing this as well because it works. Because you might not see a proxy server, or it's not uncommon for a lot of these big organizations to be routing their traffic outside of the US, or they're using a third party, MSP or MSSP, and it's located in another country or it's being rerouted somewhere. So with that, you could essentially capture that traffic and then pretend to be the MSSP or make it look like it's going to the MSSP, but really it's going to the adversary's proxy server. So yeah, these are examples of basically what is in the course, but a little bit more advanced and complicated, a little bit more in depth, I would say. So you have Entra ID, Sentinel, MFA bypasses. Yeah, so this is a little bit more in depth, but I wanted to show you guys like, yeah, I mean, if you guys have spare time, maybe create that. Sorry. Maybe practice creating like run books, playbooks. Use your skills. Practice the skills that you guys have learned to go ahead and um, to go ahead and uh, enhance, what you're learning, put it into play, not just go after certifications and think that you guys are ready to go. Because honestly, we're never ready for the next attack. The next attack could be something that destroys and wipes out the whole company, like Striker, or it could be something that it was like, holy crap, this is scary. If they would have, gotten past C2 and they would have actually performed lateral movement, um, then this could have really like caused $100 million loss to the company. So definitely, segmentation. Always be doing proactive threat hunting, being on top of your game, just constantly staying motivated, staying positive also, because during an attack, it is very stressful. I've stopped APT group attacks. I've gone through obviously with NATO and simulated like a huge worst case scale from Russian attack. Like Russia would devote 100% of their resources to a cyber attack to take down a NATO ally or a NATO headquarters. Um, but yeah, so the CISA zero trust maturity model, um, staying on top, being familiar with MITRE ATT&CK, mapping out your frameworks, how the attack is, practicing different scenarios. So going through these labs, if you guys want, go through these labs, practice how are these attacks and where does it fall in the MITRE ATT&CK stage in the framework. Um, instant response, instant response phases for nation state APT intrusions, detection, triage, containment, um, eradication, recovery, post-incident. So the documentation obviously is key. You want to document everything that you see, but you want to create your own timeline. Don't just depend on obviously Sentinel or Defender. I don't know if you guys have used it a lot, but if you haven't, Defender, along with any other security tool, is not perfect. There's a inside joke or running joke with Defender that it will, and anybody that's been in it for a while can tell you, but Defender will be like, oh my god, that you have a critical attack, and like somebody's doing like uh that DDoS attack, or they're practicing Shop Hound or something like that, and it's like, oh my god, this guy's on fire. And it's like, no, this is a user running Bloodhound, or the admin running Bloodhound to do checks, or this is an admin pushing updates or patches to a HMI or PLC or OT machine. It's okay. Yes, he's doing remote desktop, or he's remoting directly into a machine in order to go ahead and run those updates, but it's secured. He's using a jump box, jump network. He's using like a P account, etc. So yeah, it will scream fire or wolf a lot, or the opposite. It will be like you'll see sometimes security tools doing a pen test or ethical hacking engagement. Um, it will categorize certain TTPs or certain attacks as like low or informational. I was like, how is this informational? This is clearly like should be high or critical. And so I say all of that to say, don't trust security tools. Definitely skill up, be familiar with the scripts, start being more hungry, start being more inquisitive as far as, hey, what is this? What does this mean? I don't know what this Microsoft service is. Is this legit? And then just start researching things, document it for yourself, create your own playbooks, your own personal playbooks, um, because during a incident or a breach, you won't have time to go ahead and start researching those things. So inbox will clean up containment automation. So you have an automated script to go ahead and run in PowerShell for compromised VPNs. Yeah. Any questions? Got another question too right after. One more queue from chat. Sorry. Yeah. Got another question too right after. Okay. Cool. Yep. So tabletop simulation, Iranian APT intrusion. Sorry. So this is a mock scenario. So imagine a CFO level, defense contractor, MFA, or Microsoft 365 login, and then it's continuing for the next, and then the injections. So after +0, what is happening? Like, what do you see? So Sentinel fires high severity alerts, token replays, ASM changes, +15 is second alert fires, MFA fatigue detection, and then +45 you see inbox forwarding rules. So this is going through, a mock scenario, mock incident. What if this was real? What would you see based on these APTs? So Charming Kitten campaign and their TTPs. They do a lot of initial access phishing emails, a lot of phishing now with AI. They're automating a lot of this stuff too, and it's being faster, better, and more real. And then also with Muddy Waters, they are doing a lot of initial access, whether it's MFA bypass, compromising, somebody that has multiple single sign-ons, SSOs, or they have several open connections because they're a sysadmin or IT help desk and they're remoting into several machines and it's not secure connections. So they're using the same admin password that they would use on their own laptop. And then if somebody pops that admin's password and their laptop, now they don't have access to just one machine. They have access to all the remote sessions that are open on that person's machine because they'll leave it open for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. So yeah, these things happen, and it's like, oh well, who would make that mistake? People make that mistake. So escalate to nation state attack, produce full attack map timeline. So this is just getting you in the habit of imagine if you were facing a huge nation state APT attack, what would this look like? How long would it take you and your team to respond? What would it look like after 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour, 2 hours? And then there you go. So there's about 6 questions. I have more quiz questions for you guys if you want. And I also have other labs, other things for you to go through. If you want, I also have created live fire exercises, so I can show you guys like, hey, this is what my setup looks like. So actually, really quick, and then I'll take questions. But this is a lot. Sorry. I tried to keep it as quick as possible within the time limit. I know I gotta take questions in a little bit, see if there's anything. But yeah. So key takeaways: watch the news. Whether it's bleeping computer, whether it's any other form of PPI that you guys prefer. But watch what is happening in current events. Pay attention to specific APT groups or specific group actors and threat actors, and like how are they getting access? What is the modus operandi look like, the MO? What are they trying to go after? Are they targeting just OT, ICS sector? Are they trying to get money? Are they just targeting financial sector? And then try to go through a mock scenario by yourself of what does this look like? What happens if I were to get hit by some of these attacks? And then also definitely create your own home lab environment like I have here. So I have Metasportable, that's, you know, open machine that I could just hit, and all of this stuff is open source. I have a Kali Linux, and on top of my Kali Linux, I've created a Docker instance, and then inside of that, I created a Olama model, so AI model, lightweight. And then inside that, I created, I spun up a pen testing AI, whether it's pen AGI or etc. There's a lot of pen testing AI tools. And then I have a separate Kali Linux instance, and I have a practice Windows box. So definitely create your own home lab environment. Start playing around with some of these things, and go through it and have fun. Be curious. Start testing boundaries, honestly, you know. But cool. Question. Stop sharing. Come out a bit on time. Yep. Okay. So chat. Okay. How these
Doug,
inbox
man.
voting? Yeah, sorry. I was getting close.
Yeah, all good.
Is
Some
it?
good questions were rolling in there at the end.
Yeah.
Did you catch that one by Eakin or Iken? That last one?
I can. Yeah. What stage of compromise would you start? Yep. Mapping towards MITRE TTPs. Would that be when doing IR after compromise of a certain scale, or would you do it regardless? So when you start mapping for TTPs, it's always after, because as a stock analyst, you're always seeing it, whether it's like, you know, 5 minutes after the MSSP detects you or calls you, or whether it's 5 minutes after you see it pop up in Sentinel, if you're actively, you know, doing working hours and you see it happening. But it's always after, like you're always catching up. So as soon as you see these alerts start popping up, it's going to be critical. It's going to start flooding. And it's going to escalate as they start doing more things, whether it's a pen test or an active attack. So you need to go ahead and organize your team like a machine. So if you are, let's say, the lead analyst, I would say assign one of your team members to go ahead and be on top of documentation. Like they need to create a timeline, and they need to start documenting the stuff that the rest of the team is dropping into chat, whether it's Teams, etc. Like whatever you use for internal corporate chat communications, and start dropping evidence, start dropping, look for executables, look for SHAs, SHA-256s. If it got in through a Teams call, then document what time the person from the outside called the internal personnel. What time did that call happen? How long did it happen? What did they say? Did they give any indicator? What is the name of the outlook that they use? All these things, all of the evidence, artifacts, raw information, you have to go ahead, collect it, throw it into a timeline, and then you start organizing it chronologically after the attack is done, and you're actively trying to stop the attack, obviously. So you're trying to contain, isolate machines. You don't want the actor just running free, obviously. So you're doing all these things to go ahead, actively stop the attack. Majority of the team, that's their job. Stop the attack, stop the progression, and then you have one person documenting all of the evidence and all the facts that are being found. If that makes sense. And
That was
then,
good. Very, very
yeah.
thorough answer there, Doug. Yeah, I think you actually have impressed Iken over there. So
Sorry.
that's his follow-up response there, just so everyone can see on stream. I think you were very thorough on that answer, man.
but what I've heard so far.
Well, hey,
But,
thank you so much, Doug. This has been
Yeah.
excellent. I'm glad we
Yeah.
got a little bit of CTI and some cyber threat intel flair. A good closer for our day 2 of ContinuumCon. Really appreciate all your support, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
fantastic.
definitely love cybersecurity, offense and defense. You can ask Anthony, John. So I'm passionate about this stuff. You know, I've been doing it for 15 years, but if any of you guys want to talk to me offline, I can talk for hours. I'm here to talk. I'm here to help. So it's always a pleasure, you know, whenever Anthony and John is like, hey, Doug, do you want to give a talk? Do you want to, talk to some of the people at the conference? And you guys are doing an awesome job. I appreciate all of your experience. You guys are some of the most chill, smartest people I've known. So,
Well,
great.
thank you, Doug. Appreciate the kind words, and glad to have you back with us again for round 2 for a second year of the conference, man. Good stuff. So, Doug's not lying, by the way, everyone in chat. Follow up with him. He is super helpful. He wears his cyber heart on his sleeve. He really does. He'll be more than happy to chat with you. But, Doug, thank you again, man. Great way to close the day.